Hello and welcome to the Marc Jeffrey podcast show. This is episode 28, September the 14th, 2017. Recorded from the studio on the hill, southwest UK, not a million miles from London. Now, the Marc Jeffrey podcast show is proud to be part of the Britpod scene, and please take time out of your precious lives, your busy lives, to listen to all the fantastic shows that they have to offer, simply by typing in hashtag Britpod scene. Now, episode 28 was once again proudly brought to you by those fantastic, amazing guys at MPC Solutions for all your computering needs. Yo, Liam, what the frickin' hell is up?
Hi there.
What have you been up to?
Well, this and that.
How's your week been?
Yeah, all good, man. All good.
Yeah, it's been my weekend off this weekend.
Lucky bugger.
Off work. So I've been getting some practice in for my first Taekwondo grading.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got my grading coming up very, very soon. I'm going to be grading for my white with yellow tag belt.
Ooh.
So I'll no longer be a fresh beginner. I shall soon be a white belt with a yellow tag.
Moving on up there. How are you doing with it? Is it all good?
Well, it's funny, mate. Really, I don't know if you like this, but whenever I ever do anything like an exam, or you're practicing for something or rehearsing for something, it all goes really, really well until about the week before you do your exam, and then it all goes tits up. You forget everything, and that's what it was like on my session on Wednesday and Friday. It was as if I just forgotten everything, even though I hadn't.
You just pretty much summed up my driving test.
Was that what it was like? Was it?
Man, I forgot how to drive. Oh, Jesus, I don't know these roads.
So you like that then? Yeah, I'm terrible. Like you say, I'm really good at what I do, and I'm really happy with the way things go. And then all of a sudden, I'm like,
I'm a bit better now, I must admit. But I did used to be. Yeah, you kind of build up to it and you get so nervous.
Yeah, so that's what's been going on with me. I've been learning. I've got to go in to do my Taekwondo grading, and I've got to learn a theory. I've got to answer a load of questions, but I've also got to be in front of a hall with loads of people and doing all these patterns and stuff like that. So yeah, so on Wednesday I've got my pre-grading session where I get told whether my instructor thinks I am actually good enough to go for my grading. So that's on Wednesday. So like I said, I've been doing loads of revision and stuff. Hence the reason, Liam, why I have got these funky shoes on. Did you notice that I picked you up in these shoes?
I did, and I didn't want to say anything because I thought you were having some kind of breakdown.
Well, for you at home, I've got on my pair of. How would you describe them? Looking at them, Liam.
Well, I kind of know what they are. So, they're running shoes, but where the toes are actually part of the shoe. They're.
Correct. They're 5-toed running shoes, and they're by Vibram. That's who make them. And if you look at them, really, it just looks like a pair of socks. You get those socks that are like gloves. You get where you put all your toe in each individual like glove bit sort of thing. That's what they are. They're shoes. They've got a rubber bottom. And you just run on them, and they're really, really light, and they're supposed to be absolutely amazing for running and doing physical exercising, because apparently the best way for running is to run barefoot. Very controversial shoe, though. Very controversial, because a lot of people are saying that you should not actually run in them. They're not very good for running because your foot's so used to having all that padding around it. If you don't ease yourself into it properly, then what can happen is you can cause yourself some serious damage. So basically, I'm using them at the moment for doing my Taekwondo in, so that next week I can start going on my proper fitness regime and start doing running again. So that's the whole idea of what's going on at the moment. So yeah. So like I say, next Wednesday I've got my pre-grading, and then on the 23rd of September I've got my actual grading. So I'm really, really nervous, but at the same time I'm quite looking forward to it, because you have a big room of people in a grading, and you're all lined up in your belt rows. So like black belt will be at the front, with right at the back with the white belts, and you just basically do all your exercises, all your press ups, your all that sort of stuff all together like a big regiment. Is how you describe it.
Well, this is a strange question. Is there any belt that you're aiming to get to specifically, or you just want to keep going and going?
Yeah, size 34 waist belt. I'm looking forward to going to. No, I'm just doing it for my son. Really, my son does it, and I'm doing it to help him. And something I've always wanted to do, to be fair. And I thought I was too old for it, but no, I've decided no, I'm going to give it a go. And I am not the oldest person to start. There's a couple of other people in the groups in Plymouth that are about 45, 46.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, so no. It's quite. It's even though belly, still eating and drinking all the time. It is amazing physical fitness, but like I say, I am going to get this grading done, and I'm going to start working hard to get my fitness down and get rid of the belly, shall we say? Get rid of the belly. So this is what I've been getting up to most of the weekend. I got up to a couple of other things as well. My mate George come round on Saturday night, and we went and done some community service.
Did you?
Yes, we done. Well, Friday night I done community service with Blaze, and then Saturday night we done community service with George. I had 2 nights down the pub, helping the owners clear the taps, ready for the new landlord and new landlady.
Someone has got to do it
to take over. So they've been leaving. Ian and Amy, wish them all the best. They're leaving, and we've got a new landlord and a landlady coming in very, very soon. So I was just basically went down there to see them off and catch up with some mates, and it was absolutely bloody heaving down the pub at the weekend.
I bet.
So it was really, really good. And one thing, Friday night I went down there. I got vaping.
Oh God, I was worried what you were going to say. Well, I'm still kind of worried.
Vaping. Yeah. Do you know what vaping is?
I know what vaping is, but yeah.
Have you come across it? Have you done it before?
I've never done it. I don't know that it's, well, for me, I always think in the long run, we're going to find out there's something a bit more, it's better than smoking.
Well, yeah.
But I kind of think there might be something you might get down the line. You might think, actually, it's not great for you either, is it?
No. Well, I was talking. That's exactly what I said to this guy down the pub at the weekend, because he was in there bellowing out these in great clouds of smoke, and he says, "Have you had a go on it before?" And I said, "Well, I did about when I went to a festival once." I said, "It just didn't really do anything for me. It tasted like it was grape flavour that I had, and it tasted like grape tobacco." I said, "It just tasted horrible." Now, for people who don't know what vaping is, I mean, I don't know what it's like in America, in Europe and that lot, but it's quite big over in the UK. It's, instead of smoking cigarettes, it's like, how would you describe it, Liam? It's like
flavoured vapour, isn't it?
Flavoured vapour, yeah.
But it's obviously got, a mix of other stuff in it, which
nicotine.
It's got nicotine in it, which is obviously hasn't got the tobacco, so isn't going to.
So it's not going to kill you of cancer, supposedly.
But yeah, I always think they kind of thought that with cigarettes, didn't they? In the 20s,
mate. This is exactly what I said to this guy down there. She said, "Well, give it a go, give it a try." So I tried it, and I tell you what, mate, it was bloody beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Because the problem is with me, you see, is I've always, mum and dad, close your ears if you're listening. Close your ears. You ready? Okay. I've always socially smoked, Liam.
Yeah.
I'm not a smoker.
Yeah.
But I've always socially smoked. So when I went down the pub, we'd always be in the pub years ago smoking on a Friday and Saturday night. And that would be it. I've never took it up as a hobby or anything like that.
No.
My issue is now they've got the smoking laws in the UK where you have to go out to smoke. It kind of leaves me in a situation where all my mates smoke and I'm sat at the bar by myself.
Yeah.
Like a Billy No Mates. So what's been happening recently is when I've been down the pub, I've been going out with them and it's got me bloody smoking cigarettes, just while I'm down the pub. So I thought, well, yeah, I'll give it a try. So, I gave it a try, and he was smoking banana flavour. And I'm not a lover of banana, to be honest with you.
Banana-y, was it?
You what?
It was banana-y.
Banana-y.
It was very
banana-y.
Banana-y.
Yeah, it was. It was really, really nice. Could not taste the nicotine at all because of the way his vape was set up. I'm not going to go into too much detail because they were telling me all how it works, and my mind was like mush, But I had a go on it, and it was really, really nice. So I came home after about 10 pints. I came home and I bought an Inokin Cool Fire with e-liquid, and I bought some double apple flavour. So I've got some apple flavour on the way. I've got a cherry ice flavour on the way. Got some grape, some banana, and some watermelon. And it should all be here next week. So I should be chugging away like an old smoker. And the thing is, the way I see it is, I know exactly where you're coming from. But the way I look at it is, I can't get out of the habit of going down the pub and not having a fag. So if I can go down there and just go out and just like a couple of puffs, it's got to be better.
Don't get me wrong. Better, if it's between cigarettes and that, I would go with that.
Yeah.
If you were going with either, it's strange what you come home, or anyone can come home after a few pints and order.
This is what I was coming up next. I bought it off of Amazon. And I just wanted to talk to you, Liam, about the dangers of Amazon after consuming alcohol.
Very dangerous, especially when it says you may also, like, you wake up and you've bought about 25 DVDs or something like that. I mean, what did I do the other night? I wasn't particularly, I popped down to the pub for a little bit. I come back and in the morning found that I'd started up a mail order coffee thing. So I'm getting coffee.
Oh, you're getting coffee now?
Coffee sent to me every 28 days.
Cool, that sounds pretty cool.
But actually, it is something I've wanted to do for a while, so it's one of my better drunken purchases.
Yeah, it's when you just buy stuff like I did that you don't need.
I bought 2 records.
Well, I do need it, because that's why I wouldn't have bought it else. But yeah, it's when you buy stuff and you think, what the hell? Like gold leggings for festivals and stuff, you know?
I bought 2 records a while back. I can remember getting in and thinking, I know what record I've always wanted. And then I'm sure I woke up about 2 hours later and thought, you know what? The laptop's there. I know what album I really want. And in the morning, I realised, no, actually, I didn't. The 2 turned up and I thought, right.
I didn't order them. Surely.
I don't know what this is. And they're both the same thing. And it could have been much worse. Could have been hundreds of them.
That was Friday night, that was, anyway. Like I say, I bought it Friday night. So it should be a next week sort of thing.
So lock your laptops away when you come home from the pub.
A bit like that. And then on Saturday, Zach had his first football training session. You know, he's been playing football for about 2 years now, but he hasn't actually had a game because he's only 6.
Okay.
So he's not. But on Sunday, because he had his training on Saturday, and then on Sunday he had his first ever football match.
How did he get on?
Well, we will just say they came second. I think they the last I counted, it was about 9-1 they lost. But in all fairness, they really, really, really did play well. The team that they were playing were a year. They had a lot of players that was a year older than them, and they were already playing in the league, and they trained 3 times a week. Okay. And our coach did tell us that they are one of the better leagues in the area.
He's only young. Let's be honest. He's still where people
he was hellish nervous,
but they're finding their feet. Yeah, you're bound to be.
He was hellish nervous, but well done, Zach, for that. He'd done it, like I say, had his first game of football, and he enjoyed it. That's the main thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then before we went to football, I was driving the missus's car, and we was just about to pull away, and her car wouldn't start. She had a flat battery. Right. So he was running a little bit late, because whenever we go and do anything, we always run late anyway. That's when it all went wrong. I managed to get the car started, but at one stage I thought that we was going to have to take my car. So I ran up to the house, got my car keys, went back down to the car, got the car started, left my car keys in the missus's car. And I've spent the whole of today looking for my bloody car keys. I've had the whole house, everything out everywhere. I was looking for them everywhere, only to find out at about 3 o'clock this afternoon. By the way, it is Monday evening. We record all of our podcasts on a Monday evening. Only to find out that they had been in our car all day, and I'd literally just wrecked the whole house. So that's what has been going on today. And I wasn't actually going to... I haven't actually prepared anything for this podcast today.
I think it's going well, though.
I haven't prepared anything. So that's what I'm saying. I'm actually, last few weeks, I've come up with things that I've done recently that I don't, that have been new to me. And without prepping a podcast is new to me. So I don't know how it's going to go tonight. I don't like saying tonight. I don't know how this week's episode's going to go. It could last for 30 minutes. It could last for an hour. I really, really don't know, because I haven't had a chance to prep anything. But we're just going to wing it, Liam. We're going to see how it goes. and see if it is as easy as making last week's podcast. Because last week with Tim, it was a pleasure, wasn't it?
It was. You could have been there for 2, 3, 4 hours talking.
He was such a... I did actually send him a message
good bloke
this evening asking him to come and give us a hand because we was short for material and that. And he said, "Sorry, boy, I can't. I am socially confused." He's been on the beer, so he couldn't come and help us.
No,
but
he's really, really talented as well.
Oh,
for what he
fantastic.
does, mate.
I actually had about eaten all of his vegetables that he brought round.
Oh, man.
You know that yellowed squashed, a yellow squash. What was it called?
Well, it was a squash. Yeah. It looks nice though.
I ate one of them. We cut it all up and put it in a chili because it's part of the not cucumber family, courgette family.
Okay.
So I cut all that up. Made I was going to say made a podcast. Made a chili, and had that this evening. It was really, really nice.
The tortilla chips are really. They're better than anything you can ever buy.
Oh, suits you, sir. Suits you.
Oh, suits you.
What about the weather we've been having, mate? It's been a bit shocking, isn't it? I mean,
strange weather.
September, and honestly, it feels like I know it is. I know September is classed as autumn,
but it seems to be that
it's cold.
That one day that they said, right, it's now officially like the meteorological autumn. Terrible weather ever since. We've had real nice. We haven't had a bad summer really.
Well,
not
debatable.
Awful. Well, we've had some good days, haven't we? We've had some really nice weekends and like bank holiday.
Bank holiday was
right.
cracker.
But all of a sudden, it's like we've got winter started, isn't it?
Well, it's
getting windy. It's getting rainy. The leaves are falling. It really is proper.
It's like Crowded House, isn't it? It's like 4 seasons in one day. Every day you got a bit of sunshine and you think, oh, I'll take my coat off. It's nice now. And then you walk down the road and it pisses down with rain and then it's freezing cold.
But everywhere you go, you always
take the weather with you. Yeah. But I suppose we can't really complain with the weather after, the storms that have hit the Caribbean and now Miami and Florida. I mean... It's been absolutely crazy. I mean, I've not been near the computer and I don't watch the news as much as what I would like to. But I know that we've got a lot of our listeners that listen to it from the States. And if you've been affected by the horrendous weather, our thoughts go out to you. And I hope that it's not, I won't say not too bad, but you get where I'm coming from. We're thinking of you out there, guys. We're thinking of you.
Stay safe.
Yeah, stay safe. But I mean, did you see the sea disappear in Bermuda? I think it was Bermuda I saw. I mean, I was watching on Facebook and there's this guy and he's just walking along and I had the sound off, so I wasn't listening to what was going on. I said, Nicky, what's actually going on? And she goes, apparently since the tornadoes come in, the sea disappeared. And like the beach now, what was like water, there's no water. It's just disappeared.
It's never good. Whenever you see it like with a tsunami or anything, something's really bad. On the BBC, it was just a strange way. They did a news report and they were talking about, I think, an island called Barbuda. And they said nobody from the outside world has heard of the island since. No one had heard of them. Once the storm had passed through, they hadn't heard from the island. They're all...
Really?
They didn't know they existed anymore. It's that bad. It can wipe out whole islands and whole cultures.
Where did you say that was?
Barbuda.
I'm sure I had a pair of shorts from there once in the 90s. But... Yeah, and then they... sorry, mate, sorry. And did you see the floods that they've had in Miami? Really, big tall rise buildings and just like water, like as if it was like an everyday occurrence, just sloshing around in between them.
I mean, we think of a storm as like hitting the UK and passing through within a few hours, but that storm has been passing through there for days and days.
Yeah.
And it's now, hitting, as you say, Miami and across Florida. There are a lot of people hurt, and unfortunately, at least 6 people have died in that. But it's just...
But 6 people, that isn't a lot of people for the destruction that's been caused, is it?
Well, it shows the work that they do, really, and the preparations at getting people out. It's unfortunate when people, die. But like you say, the thousands or the millions of people through America, they're doing good work there with the rescue and their aid at the minute.
It must be a hell of a scary, because I remember when I was, I think it was that about 1980, when would it have been, that big storm that the UK had, when Michael Fish said, oh no, it's going to go past us. 85, I'd like to say.
84, 85?
Yeah, I was at school and I used to go home for lunch. And I remember going home at lunchtime, and I actually ran home. And as I'm running home, no word of a lie, there was trees falling down beside me. There was roof slates flying off the house. There was like fences flying through the air. And I got home to my mum. I says, "Mum, there's not a chance that I'm going back to school. Not open house." We put the radio on, and they said that this school had been closed due to, all the children had been sent home. But
blown away.
But that was 1985, and I think the weather reached then about 100 mile an hour. We're talking like 185, 200 mile an hour winds. I just can't imagine. I mean, that was bad for me that day. I cannot imagine what those guys over there must be going through.
We've got 87 down here. Michael Fish with the hurricane.
87, was it?
87, where he famously said someone had written in and they said apparently there's going to be a hurricane. No, I can tell you there definitely will not be a hurricane. And there was a hurricane. I
think all these weather forecast people now, they sort of like, they're a little bit more cautious now after that, don't you think?
Yeah, never say never.
Yeah. But we're talking quickly about conspiracy theories now. I've talked about them a few times, and I've always been one of these people that are into my conspiracy theories. I like to believe conspiracy theories, but I saw one on YouTube today, and the guy was talking about these solar flares that we've been having over the last couple of days, and apparently the solar flares are the worst flares that we've ever seen. And he was talking about these solar flares and the storms that we've had. And basically he was saying that these solar flares are quite, worrying things. And he believed that nobody had said anything about these solar flares over the last 2 days. Everybody was talking about these horrendous storms. And he concluded by saying that the hurricanes that we've been having were man-made, right? So that it would paper over the solar flares that could result in the end of the world, so that the people weren't getting worried about it.
Yeah, I think a few people in Florida and Miami might disagree.
Man-made hurricanes. Now, how the hell do you make a man-made hurricane?
Yeah, I think people have been pretty scared by both.
Yeah, but these solar flares. I know a little bit about these solar flares because I used to do amateur radio, ham radio. And basically the sun goes through an 11-year cycle, and when it gets to its peak, it chugs out lots more radiation and all this sort of stuff. But I think that it peaked at about 2014, and the solar flares now for the next 11 years should be getting less and less and less and less. But they're actually getting more and more, and it's quite concerning. And I mean, have you looked at done any information about it, Ian?
I've had a bit of a look, but I mean, one of the articles does say that the solar flares and their headline is "The sun has gone wrong and scientists don't know why." And I guess it's because it really isn't following the pattern, as you say, the cycle.
Exactly.
They're not able to say why it's happening, what's causing it, or anything like that. But as you say, it can affect a lot of things. Obviously, it could be something very serious or different happening with the sun, but it affects everything that goes on. It can affect weather conditions. And as you say, radio, not everyone would think of it, but the way that we use radio, it can...
Communications and telecom communications.
It can wipe out things with, the flares and televisions and, I mean, small things really compared with the sun. But, it says 2 big dark areas are visible on the star. The massive sunspots are regions of intense and complicated magnetic fields that can produce solar flares, but they have been a lot more prevalent, kind of a lot bigger solar flares within the past few days.
Yeah. So the thing is, when I done amateur radio, we found that the best time for communicating with people around the world was when the solar flares were at their peak. Because the solar flares kick out a load of radiation, which could cause your radio signal to go, HF or VHF, or to go in much further away than what it would, which is good if you're into that sort of thing. But the problem is what they're facing is, like you say, the communication aspect is that power could be wiped out. You might have communications like at the moment with this all this trouble over in America where people are needing to communicate via VHF or HF radio. They're not being able to do it because the solar flares and the radiation it's kicking out is wiping it for 6 and causing loads of interference and everything.
Well, it sounds quite geeky to say, but I've watched stuff before about like these electromagnetic pulses, and you can get a wave of it, and it would shut down everything that we use. You think of how many things we use that are you don't realise, electronic. Mate. Everything would be gone.
Yeah,
you wouldn't be able to do anything really apart from the most basic stuff. It's strange. Your watches, everything, but no, it's an odd.
As long as you've got a podcast to listen to, it doesn't matter. Does it?
Man. Your wind-up radio.
Taking it back, old school. Taking it back, old school.
Yeah.
Anyway, today, this is one of the reasons why, like I said earlier on in the show, I did say that I didn't have much content. I hadn't done any planning for this show, and I was going to call it a day for today and going to do a bit of planning and do it tomorrow. But the main reason why I chose to come on here today and to just waffle on as best as I can was because today is the anniversary of 9/11, the Twin Towers that was, how would you describe it? That was where the plane flew into the Twin Towers.
The two aircraft, wasn't it? That, coordinated attack.
Yeah, 2001, 16 years ago.
Can't believe that. It has gone.
Oh, crikey. Where's the time gone? And can you remember what you was doing on that day?
I can remember. Yeah, I can remember because I had only just started or only recently been at the Comprehensive in Saltash. And I can remember hearing people talking about it in school, and you don't really know when someone says something really bad's happened out in America. And then to get home and to see it on the screen, and I think the family were all just sat around. They were like, just watch this. And you actually saw it. I remember as I got in and the second plane did it.
Yeah.
And you actually saw it.
I mean, I wasn't about when Kennedy was assassinated, but
it's one of them
everybody
moments.
was talking about it. I was there when Princess Diane was, I will say, murdered, because I do believe she was, which is another conspiracy theory. We'll talk about that another time. But, it's one of those things where the whole world stops. And I was working as a supervisor in a warehouse, and one of the lorry drivers come in and he was going on about, have you heard what's going on? Well, 2 planes have flown into buildings. And I was laughing and I was just like, yeah, mate, okay, whatever. Because he was always winding me up. And I didn't believe that in that day and age, such a horrific thing could have happened. And like you say, 16 years down the line, I'm still not sure. I don't. We go on about conspiracy theories, and there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there that the Twin Towers no planes flew into them, and it was an inside job and all that lot. Everybody has got their own theory about it, and I quite often speak to Nikki about my beliefs. I don't really want to go into it too much today because, like I say, it's the anniversary of a thing. There's a lot of people in America that could be affected. It needs to be remembered, But I do think that the families of the people that do believe that it was an inside job, I do think they should be given some respect, and there should be an investigation put into it. I don't know what you think, Liam.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because it's something so big, and there were nearly 3,000 deaths. That's you can't even imagine, including the people on the plane. It's massive.
I mean, my brother's been over there and he's seen, what they call, is it Ground Zero they call there now, don't they? Which is like a tribute to, would it be a tribute?
It's beautiful. I mean, in the basically the remains of the towers is they've built the memorial, haven't they? And I think they've got like, not fountains, but water, just plaques and real remembrance.
Commemoration, not tribute, commemoration.
Kind of place that people can go.
But what Matt was saying, I don't know whether it's true or not, but he was saying what's disgusting about it is you have to pay to go in there.
Okay, well, it depends. I mean, obviously, I don't know
if it's true or not.
I don't know enough about it or what the payment is for or, where it goes to. But no, it's strange to think of so many films, so many things that had the towers in them one day and the next.
It's quite sad. I mean, like I said, my thoughts go out to the people of America because it's sad that 16 years to the day people are being affected by these horrendous storms, and it's almost like a reminder sort of thing. But on a lighter note, I was reading on the internet today, and it is about an American lad. He's a 17-year-old lad who has sued his parents for being born white. Did you hear that in the news at all?
I didn't. I feel like, and this is no insult to our friends over the other side of the pond.
What you're going to say.
It's something that the British always say, only in America.
Only in America. I read it on the internet, and forgive me if you're an American thinking these bloody English people, you know.
They probably say the same about us.
But as soon as it come on the news, a 17-year-old boy, 17-year-old young adult, sues his parents for being born white. I saw it in the paper, and I just laughed. And I said to the missus, I said, only in America do you hear these stories. Or is it?
Mm-hmm.
A home... Until I looked on the internet today. A homeless man terrifies staff in St Austell, Cornwall, when he began waving his penis around in one hand and a knife in the other.
Okay.
He was arrested by the police and he was done for holding a lethal weapon. And
what about the knife?
And obviously exposure. So he's being done for counts of exposure and threatening people with a knife.
Okay.
I mean, he must be off it. He must have been off his tits, surely, mustn't he? I mean, what going into McDonald's with your penis in one hand and a knife in the other? It was McDonald's, yeah, McDonald's, and I think it was St Austell.
They see it all, don't they?
Yeah. Well, I think what we're going to do now. Where do we go from there? I think what we're going to do, Lim, is we're going to play some music, don't you? We'll put a bit of music on here now.
A fine idea, yeah.
Curl up or a surprise.
That was 68 Creep Black Cat, taken from the shamazing brand new LP Good Night Sweet Betty, which I do believe is being released on the 22nd of September by Kiss Kill Repeat Records, if I am correct. And just before they do release it, I read they are revealing their new song, Stone Cold Kiss, which is going to be out on video. So promising times ahead, and be sure to check them out on their YouTube channel. They're also on Facebook. They're on Facebook as 68 Creed, to look them up, and they're also on iTunes and SoundCloud and Spotify and all of those domains. Thanks once again to Shameless Promotions for hooking us up with this corker of a band. Anyway, it's about that time. It's not going too bad at the moment, Liam, is it? I mean, like I say, we haven't got anything wrote down that we was going to talk about, nothing like that. A couple of like little notes jot down that I'd done this afternoon, but you know, we're 30 minutes in and we haven't had no boo-boos, have we?
We're doing all right.
Should we do your topic of the week?
Yeah, go on.
What have you dug out for us this week?
Well, it's a little thing. I see things pop up in the news now and again, and it's usually involving, well, I use the term celebrities.
Okay.
Being shamed about things or things that they've done in their past. Now, in this case, it is Paul Hollywood, which is a baker who made fame over in the UK on the Great British Bake Off. Now, he was picked up in a photograph of him dressed in a Nazi uniform, right?
A bit like what Member of the Royal Family was years ago at a party?
Indeed. But this is, I always find it strange. Obviously, they've taken it completely out of context, as newspapers and the media often do. And the question is, who is really actually offended by it? Is anyone really offended, or have they just created the offence for a story? Because actually, on the face of it, it looks awful, you think. He's come out to say he's devastated over the Nazi uniform. It was actually 2003. He attended a fancy dress event.
Before he was a celebrity?
Well, I believe so. Although I think he's been a baker, quite a famous baker.
All his life?
For quite a while. And I think he's baked for a lot of really famous people through the years. But it was actually a low character.
Ah, right, okay,
so he went dressed. Now, is there anything really different in going to a fancy dress party that's a low base, which in the UK is a sitcom, it's a comedy on television, or it was in the 80s and 90s. Is there anything different really than him going dressed in a Nazi uniform as opposed to actually making the program, or any comedies that?
I see where you're coming from. You know, when the show was made and they had Nazi characters in the show, how is that any more offensive? Be making the show with Nazi characters in than him going dressed as a Nazi character. Is that where you're coming from?
Yeah, and I guess the whole thing really is today, and especially in the UK, I see it. We've lost a lot of common sense.
Yeah, definitely.
And we've lost the ability to not be offended. I think
definitely
a lot of countries or a lot of different places, the US maybe like it, but the UK definitely, we're too scared to say anything now or do anything.
Yep.
But that's not. He didn't need to come out and apologise, but he felt he had to because his career might be on the line over something he did. Not even stupidly. You know, it was a fancy dress thing, and honestly, I think people get offended over the sake of it.
It's crazy, mate. It really. I mean, you know, years and years ago, right? You take it. You used to have like the jokes, the Englishman, the Irishman, and the Scotsman. So the English years ago, 20, 30 years ago, used to take the mick out of themselves by doing these Englishmen, Irishmen, Scotsman jokes. You must have heard them before.
Yeah.
And I mean, you don't hear that anymore. You don't hear people talking about fat people anymore, or people with glasses or ginger hair. I'm lucky to be fat with ginger hair and glasses, and I do not mind at all people down the pub having a laugh. I will have a laugh, but then you get that person that gives it all the time, and as soon as you say something back at them, they flip. And that's what this country has gone like. We cannot have a laugh at ourselves anymore. Everybody in the UK, and it might not be just the UK, it might be different places around the world, everybody's frightened to talk to the person next to them just in case they offend them. and it's quite upsetting, really.
It's odd I find like when you go to London, or I'm on the tube in London, and you'll look and you'll just smile at someone, you feel really awkward because they're so sensitive to talking that they're almost scared. It is scared. I think different parts of the UK are different. I think down here we're friendlier. I think by and large, you go into a pub, you talk to people a lot more. But people are scared and offended that stuff on TV where you get all the big Ofcom thing, or that where people make complaints officially about things that have been shown on TV. Half the time, people have complained because they know other people have complained. It's not even about that. It all seems daft. Honestly, common sense needs to make a comeback.
Which kind of reminds me, that's a good topic, that one, Liam. That's well brought up. I think everybody can relate to that one. And another one as well that I've noticed in the papers that everybody has seemed to be getting a little bit irate about. And I've kind of noticed it down here in Cornwall, which, like you say, for you at home that don't know where Cornwall is, it's not a million miles from London. But it's a very small community, Cornwall, which isn't far from London, but it's far enough away, isn't it? Really, it's a farming community, sort of like agricultural.
It's a based
place.
Yeah, I mean it's only 3.5 hours really by train or from London, which isn't too far at all.
But one thing that has been I've seen in the paper over the last week is, as you may be aware, the last week or so in the UK, children have gone back to school. And in my old secondary school that I used to go to, when we used to go to school, there used to be school uniform rules that we all kind of broke. Me, I was terrible. I used to break the rule with every single item of clothing that I wore. But prior to when I went to secondary school, they were very, very strict on what you was able to wear. You had to wear a blazer, a shirt, a tie, black shoes and black trousers. That was the school uniform. Back in the old Grange Hill days, the children's sitcom, Grange Hill, when they always had the blazers and stuff like that. And once upon a time, all of the secondary schools all over the UK used to wear blazers, shirts and ties and all that lot. Now, down here in Cornwall, and I don't know what it's like in London or all the rest of the country, over the last 5 years, they've got very, very laxed on the uniforms. And my local school, when I've been in there to see a school teacher or something for a little bit of a chat, they walk around now with black pumps on, like canvas shoes and tight denim jeans, and they'll have polo shirts, white polo shirts, and that is their school uniform. And they also, in Callington, was wearing hoodies, blue school hoodies. That was uniform. Now, all of a sudden, this year, they've totally done the whole uniform, and it's almost like it's gone back to the 70s. It is trousers, blazers, shirt and tie. And with the girls, they're not allowed to wear skirts. I think it was an inch to 2 inches below the knee. Anything above that, you will get sent home. And I just wanted to talk to you about the uniform. Okay. It's been in the newspaper. Lots and lots of people, their children have been held in classrooms and sent home because they're not allowed to go to school because the skirt was an inch below the knee instead of 2 inches below the knee or an inch above the knee. Now, don't you just think that this has gone absolutely crazily stupid?
I think their biggest problem, you hit kind of on it, is they've left it so long that now they're enforcing it. If it had been like this all along, it wouldn't be a problem, would it? It's just now all of a sudden, and I don't know why, really, it is. I mean, Salt Ash, Callington, as you say, they've all gone back to that old school uniform. But equally, I look at it and I think there's a lot of parents that are not really taking the blame here, really, and have not tried to kind of go with it. It's always someone else's fault. Not always, but there's a lot of people, and you see it all come up on, especially in the UK, on the local news websites and newspapers, where people or parents have gone straight to the papers. Now, I can understand in certain cases, like children being sent home when they've got the wrong shoes and they're slightly wrong. That's a bit crazy. But there's certain things where, they kind of knew, a school does usually give quite a bit of time. And, with the Salt Ash School, They haven't said you've definitely got to buy the most expensive blazers and stuff. You can buy a cheaper supermarket ones and have the badges sewn in. I think it looks smart. From what I've seen at the minute, it does look a lot better, but maybe they haven't gone the right way about it. But
it's 2017, mate. Now, my issue I'm getting at here now is that there's a huge mix of fashion out there at the moment. There's a huge I think there's more fashion now, of diversity of fashion now than what there's ever been. Like in the 80s, 70s and 80s, you had the mods and the rockers, didn't you? And then it went for, in the 90s, you had the grunge and you had the rave scene and all this lot. Now, there isn't a fashion. There's loads and loads of stuff. And the issue is, right, is should school children should they have to be forced to wear something, right, that they're not happy to wear? And is it going to affect their education? And also, that's one point of it. That's what I see. And also, because we're a mixed cultural race, the UK, because there's so many different cultures in this country, right? Is it fair? I mean, you're going down the old burqa route and stuff like this now, and there's too many rules, like motorcyclists, Indian people don't have to wear motorcycle helmets, and then you get people that are in the police that are able to wear the turban. What I'm getting at here now is there's a huge mixed cultural identity in the UK. Why are they allowed to be mixed cultural on what they wear, and then people in the UK that have been here for generations have to wear what they're being told? Can you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, well,
and then you get people, then you wonder why people in the UK get wound up. And then racism's caused. You see where I'm coming from? It's a bit of a scary grey situation for me.
It's about being sensitive about it, but common sense again, isn't it? But back on the uniform front, I think really, a lot of American schools, they don't wear a uniform, and they do have problems. And I think over in this country, where there are schools or areas where it's really lax, it's a fashion show, isn't it? And you imagine, a kid comes in and is wearing all the newest stuff, and then a kid comes in and his parents can't afford to. So in that respect, I think it levels the playing field, really, because you're not being judged on your uniform at school, are you?
Yeah. Good little debate there, Liam. Thank you very much for that one. And it'd be interesting to see what you at home think about it. Are you living over in the States? And perhaps you could get in contact with me and tell me what your views on the issues that we've spoken on tonight's show about is. And, if you're over in the UK and you are involved, you've had a child perhaps that's been sent home because her skirt's been too short or it's been too long. Be interesting to hear what you think about it. So get in contact with me, jaff10@hotmail.com. And I think it's time to play another tune, Liam. Like I say, it's near enough the end of the show, so we'll get another tune in, shall we?
Hit it.
I've been around
So that was our second song of the episode, sent in by Shauna at Shameless Promotions, and it was Solar Flare by Parsons Rocket Project, and I really, really enjoyed that one, didn't you? Now that song features on the band's debut self-titled album, Parsons Rocket Project, and I do believe, if I've got my facts right, that song is already released on the album, which came out on the 11th of August. Hell yeah, I'm going to head over to iTunes and I'm going to freaking buy that one. Why don't you come and join me? Now don't forget you can find them on Facebook by looking them up at Parsons Rocket Project, or head over to my webpage www.jaff10.simplesite.com, easy for me to say, and check out my show description notes. Well, I pretty much think, Liam, that concludes the show. I think it's time to wrap it up, don't you?
Well, seeing we didn't have anything planned, I think we've done very well.
Seeing we didn't have anything to talk about, we've managed to sit down and have a sensible mass debate, don't you think?
I do like a good mass debate, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you once again for joining us and listening to our mass debate on episode 28 of the Mark Jeffrey Podcast Show. Please check out my website, www.jaff10. I think I said too many W's then, didn't I?
Probably.
www.jaff10.simplesite.com for this week's links and show notes. Look me up on Instagram, the Mark Jeffrey Podcast Show, and I'm also on Twitter at Jaff10, and you can look me up on Facebook and on iTunes just as Mark Jeffrey. You'll find me. You know where I am now. And all of the links mentioned on this week's episode will be on those domains, so check them out. Please leave me a comment on iTunes because it's always nice. And can I just say now, when we talk about iTunes now, I've got about nearly 10 reviews and comments on iTunes.
Okay.
Thanks to you guys at home. There've been some really nice comments, really nice, and I do thank you for that. And if you are a band or you just fancy appearing on the podcast, come in and have a little chat to me and Liam. My email, like I said, is jaff10@hotmail.com. Get in contact with me and tell me what's occurring. Don't forget the Mark Jeffrey Podcast Show is now a member of the Britpod scene. You can find us at #BritpodScene. Thank you once again, Liam. It's been a good one, hasn't it?
I've really enjoyed it.
You've really enjoyed it?
I really have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any last words?
See you on the other side.
Don't forget to look after yourselves and those around you. Treat everyone around you as you wish to be treated yourself. And remember, your life may not be as crazy as you once thought it was.